So this is kind of a tough video for me to make. There's a lot of things that I am totally willing and open about talking about, and that includes my suicide story, that includes um, time I spent hanging out with gang members, that includes any like drug use that I was around or anything like that. But for some reason, my bullying story has it's just something that I am so uncomfortable with talking about, and it's something that I don't share hardly with anyone. And I don't know if it's like an embarrassing thing for me. I know that there's like shame and regret, and um, there's a lot of pain there, and it's just hard for me to go to that place back in middle school and back in high school and back in elementary school because a lot of those memories have been erased from just trauma of it being such a traumatic experience for me that my brain it just blocks it out. So I don't know where to begin, but I'll begin where everything first started, and it was the first time that I ever realized that my family was poor was going to school and realizing that we didn't have a lot of the new fashions or we had hand me down. My clothes were hand me downs because my sisters are 2 years older than me, and I mean, we didn't get a lot of the new toys and stuff that were coming out, and it wasn't until kids started to taunt me about our um, financial situation that I even knew that I was poor because my mother provided, my family, my mother and my father provided everything for us. It seemed like we were well off because we lived in a nice neighborhood and we had, you know, uh, decent house and we pretty much had everything that we could have wanted, but my parents didn't spend money ridiculously. We were poor, but it didn't it didn't register until I got to school, and then people would talk about my clothes and they would talk about my hair and they would talk about this and they would talk about that, and I just remembered like being like, what the heck, like what's the problem? Like, I never even knew that I was different or that that would be something that someone would pick on me about. Um, a lot of the things that I got picked on was like my hair. Um, My mother was adopted by a white family. We've had all of our relatives are white. We're used to being around our family and everything, but my mother didn't have any family, so she didn't have any black family, so she didn't know how to take care of our hair. She didn't know how to do a lot of those things, so she basically would just let us go out however because she didn't know how to really take care of that. So that was something that we got picked on about. And basically the same thing carried on to middle school. It was always that we were too poor, that that we were this and that and the other. People would say that we stunk, or we talked too white, or we acted too white, and we were just too proper, or even our religious beliefs would get attacked because we grew up in a Christian household and we were really like on fire for God. Like we were like kids that that was something that made us not normal, so they would pick on us for being goody two shoes. And middle school for me was like it was good, and like I said, a lot of the memories of middle school I just blacked out because all the bad memories I blacked out, but I remember like a girl saying that she didn't want to sit next to me because I stunk, and I may have at the time. I don't know. Sometimes I would forget to put deodorant on, or, I would forget to do this or forget to do that, because my mother was not like the kind of mom that like went and like did all this stuff before we went to school. She would kind of just like send us on our way and be like, so we would like forget the basic stuff like putting on deodorant, making sure this is right, making sure that was right, making sure you didn't have any stains on your shirt and stuff like that. Um, it wasn't my childhood. I wouldn't say was like the normal childhood where you have a mother that is there all the time and making sure that, I mean, my mother didn't tell us about a lot of stuff, like a lot of stuff we had to learn on our own. So it wasn't, she never had those kind of conversations with us. She just wasn't, she's just not, even to this day is she that kind of person. She's just not. And so that was something that we would get picked on about. And sometimes I didn't want to go to school. I didn't want to be bothered with the kids. I just had so much anxiety about even walking in the classroom. It just was a, school for me was a painful experience that every time I had to grit my teeth in order to go. And I never told a principal, and I never talked to a teacher, and I think that that was a mistake on my part, because if you're being bullied, I would suggest that you go and talk to someone, even if it's the principal, or even if it's one of the teachers, or even if it's your parents. Make sure that they know and allow them to step in, because you can't you can't go through that on your own. And people minimize bullying so much, but it carries itself with you. Like I even like it, for people that I know and I love and I know that they're not talking about me, I even have paranoia about them talking about me, because I'm so used to people talking about me all the time and putting me down and telling me I'm this and telling me I'm that and all these awful things, that it's still damaging to me, and I'm still so self-conscious and superficial and fidgety, and nothing's ever right, and I still talk down to myself or think that I'm worthless because of all of this stuff. And now, I have all these people that used to bully me. They add me on Facebook, and I look at their lives, and the lives are most of their lives are pretty crappy. But it doesn't help to know that somebody else's life is crappy. It doesn't do anything for you. It doesn't make you feel better about what happened to you, but it does help you to feel better when you can encourage them through something that they're going through. I know for me, like one of my bullies' mother passed away, and it was comforting to me to be able to be there for her when that happened, and to forgive and move on and say, that was high school or that was middle school. And you know I think that that's where healing begins, is forgiveness. You have to forgive your bullies, and you have to forgive yourself. And don't blame yourself because you allowed yourself to be bullied, or all those times that you weren't able to stand up for yourself. I wasn't a very assertive person as a child, so I didn't I did never responded to my bully. I always like just kind of tried to ignore it, or try to brush it off like it was nothing, but inside I was dying. Like I started to burn myself, and I started to stop eating, and I started to do all of these horrible things to myself, because I didn't know how to let this thing, these feelings out. Those are no that's It's not a good option. The best option that you can take is to be honest with yourself. To be honest with yourself and be honest with your bully, and be like, look, dude, or girl, or whatever, just, I don't like the way that you're talking to me. I don't like what you're doing, you know? And to be honest with yourself and say, I don't like the way that I'm feeling right now. It's not somewhere that I want to be. And letting go of it, don't harbor it and don't keep it. Release that stuff out into the universe and let it be what it is. Because if you take that with you, your life even as an adult will be so much harder. But I'm here to tell you that it does get better as you get older. As you get older, you learn things that you never thought that you could understand. You see people in a totally different way. You see situations in a totally different way. Your confidence goes up. You start to realize that just because somebody says that you're something doesn't mean that you are what they say. You are what you believe that you are, and you are what you have accomplished. But what they say that you are is just their vision of you and how they see you. And guess what? It doesn't matter in the end, because whatever you're going to be and whatever you're going to do in life will be up to you, and it won't be up to them. So they don't have any say so in your future. They don't have any say so in what you, um, your family later on, because they won't have anything to do with that. So don't let them dictate who you are. Just because they say that you're ugly doesn't mean that you're ugly. And just because they say that you're poor doesn't mean that you're poor. It doesn't mean anything, because in the end, you are whatever you want to be and whatever you want to do. So basically, I just wanted to share my experiences, because a lot of people don't even know that I was bullied, because I don't talk about it and I don't like to talk about it. But if my experience helps anyone in any kind of way, I want to be there for them. If you have a story that you would like to share, please send it to tacbmi@gmail.com, and we will post it on the website. And we, of course, will leave out your last name for confidentiality purposes. Thank you so much for watching my video. Bye bye.